Alrighty, so UFC 318, some were calling it the worst card of the year. Hey, name value wise, maybe, possibly, okay, in terms of ranking and status, but I'm here to give you my breakdown, takeaway from every fight, and thoughts and opinions on every single fight, starting with the prelims, going to the main card, and man, Dustin Poirier had his retirement fight, as everyone probably knows. Max Holloway still the BMF champ, we'll get to it, but you know, Dustin Poirier, self-admittedly, got me into the sport, okay? First fight I ever watched top to bottom was Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier. I saw highlights of a bloody scrap, and I was like, whoa, this is a real sport. Clicked on it, started watching events. I've been addicted ever since, okay? So he's the reason why I'm an addict now, okay? But, with that being said, I was really excited for this card. And this card was pretty good, all things considered. Now the main card was a little bit different, but we'll get into it. But yeah, I'm just gonna give you my thoughts and predictions. I've been watching this sport for almost about 3 years. At the end, I'll have my predictions at the top, I believe. But with all that being said, let's start off with the first fight. Now, this was a long fight. I think it's 14 fights, okay? And it's 1:30 in the morning, and I have work tomorrow. So I might be speedrunning a few of these. Starting off with Carly Giudice versus Nicole Cagliari. Now, I take my women's MMA fights very seriously. Therefore, I use the coin, if you're new around here, and I coin flipped. The coin ended up on Nicole. It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, this was just Carly Giudice punching a punching bag for about 3 rounds, and then in the third she found the knee up the middle that she was landing throughout the whole fight. Yes, I did watch it. Okay, guys, you know, as weird as that is these days, but you know, I actually watched the prelims, unlike certain MMA YouTubers. All right, Guru. All right, you getting called out? No, I'm just kidding. Please don't send your cult after me. Anyways, moving on to one of my favorite prospects in the UFC, Bruno Ferreira versus Jackson McVeigh. Now, by the way, this women's fight, I couldn't give less of a shit about women's fights, so, yeah, I don't care what you do with any of them. Cut both of them, to be honest with you. They're shit, okay? Moving on. To be fair, Carly Giudice looked like a debut O'Malley in the amateur league, I guess. But yeah, moving on. Bruno Ferreira versus Jackson McVeigh. I'd be lying to you if I wasn't a little worried, because I've been hearing... Now, I'm a UFC fan. I don't watch these, you know, Bellator, NPC, fucking LF, no one cares, okay? But from the grapevine, alright, aka most MMA YouTubers, they were talking about, like, anyone who watched actual footage, they were talking about Jackson McVeigh getting slick subs. So I was a little worried Bruno Ferreira was going to gas out in the third round and get smoked. However, I did have pretty big confidence. I think I got this one perfect. Round one, I think I put down KO, but I said KO or sub because Bruno Ferreira is typically pretty fucking good everywhere. So I think I had this one pretty perfect. I'm getting pretty good with Bruno fights. You know, I take my picks and predictions seriously, but Bruno Ferreira is one of these guys where if you make a mistake, he will punish you, and you need to be a legit middleweight. Jackson McVeigh is not a legit middleweight, okay? I get it, he had like 3 notice fights. Let me just lower that. I get it, he's had like 3 scheduled fights or something within the last couple months. I don't give a fuck, alright? You're not a middleweight. That guy's built like Volkov at heavyweight, but the weight gap at heavyweight's so big that Volkov can get away with having a little, you know, not having abs. I expect Jackson McVeigh to show up with some muscle definition, you know? So, yeah, McVeigh got fucking crushed like the can he is. And he's probably going to get cut, to be honest with you, because he is a can. Jackson McCann gets crushed by Bruno Ferreira. Bruno moves on to fight another battle. Moving on, we have Jimmy Crute versus Marcin Prachnio. I went with Prachnio because I don't fucking like Jimmy Crute. This guy's a bum. He fucking sucks. This was just... Okay, listen. Jimmy Crute is unfortunately probably going to get signed again because if you don't know, Jimmy Crute he unretired after retiring at the age of like 29 or something because he was on a 2 or 3 loss streak with a draw in the mix or a no contest, something like that. he was shit, okay, to get it across. He fought Rodolfo Bellato, who was also shit and had a shit performance, okay? I don't give a fuck if he had a 10-8 in the first. He still shit in the bed throughout the whole fight. This fight was just Prachnow's IQ. I don't know what was wrong with Prachnow's IQ. Listen, okay, Prachnow's really good on the feet, and if this was a stand-up fight, Jimmy Crute gets fucked up 11 times out of 10. But unfortunately, it's mixed martial arts, all right? And I was planning for that. I just thought Prachnau probably would have lit up Jimmy Crute a little bit faster. He had the proper takedown defense, and then he abandoned the takedown defense. Like, he literally had underhooks, and he didn't, like, reach over to get an overhook. He literally just abandoned his underhooks and just said, fuck it, I'll get taken down. Gets single leg, drop down, gets back up via, like, a weird scramble. Jimmy Crute, I think, failed a submission, and then they're back on the feet. Jimmy Crute shoots another takedown. I think Prachnau gets put on his ass again, and Prachnau just kind of lets him get position, like, full mount, and it's just like, oh, Prachnau's getting arm triangled now. Oh, he tapped. Well, damn, you know? But it's like, he had opportunities to get out of those positions, and there was moments where you saw him, and you're like, oh my god, he's getting out of the... Why the fuck did he just do that, you know? So Jimmy Crute still sucks, as far as my books are concerned, and if he's a heavy favorite in a future matchup, alright, I will be betting the underdog, okay? I don't normally gamble on every fight, of course. I bet on Poirier on his retirement, lost 20 bones, it is what it is. We move on to Adam Fugit versus Islam Dulatov. Now, Islam Dulatov, I don't know shit about before this fight. Now I know shit about him. Oh my god, this guy could be a fucking champion at welterweight, okay? Came in, smoked Fugit, but that's not really why, alright? He looked really good, like he looked very fast, he looked very explosive, he looked like he could... There was a moment where he reached for that neck on Fugit standing, and it was like, oh shit! Okay, never mind, you know? Because I think a lot of people had him by KO. And yeah, he just smoked Fugit. Fugit had an iron chin for about 3 minutes. You know, that health bar went down, and, you know, Adam Fugit wasn't watching his resources, and he got smoked. You know, so it did what it did, but, yeah, I picked Islam Dulatov, just because Adam Fugit's, he looks like a can, he gets crushed like a can, he fucking sucks. So I thought anyone with the debut who's got any sort of hype behind them wins, to be honest with you, including Mike Malott. If Mike Malott can beat Adam Fugit, any prospect can beat Adam Fugit, okay? So Islam Dulatov gets it done. Apparently this guy's part of Vogue or some sort of, I don't know these fucking companies, alright? But he's got a photo shoot Monday in like 2 days of recording this video, because I record this right after the event. Holy shit, alright? Adam Fugit fought an absolute Giga Chad, and I see why. His jawline is looking... It's looking pretty, pretty handsome, if I do say so myself, okay? I'm, you know, I'm quite the looker myself, okay? But, you know, I think I'll see him at the photo shoot Monday, but it did what it did. Islam Dulatov gets it done. Yeah, he just smoked him. He looked great. He had his hands low in moments, but he was getting after it, so... We'll see what happens. We got to see more, you know? We got to see more to find out the blueprint. Moving on, we have Atiba Guitar versus Robert Valentin. I had Atiba via first round racism within the first, like, 15 seconds. It wasn't the first 15 seconds, it was the first minute. And yeah, okay, what I will say, I picked Atiba Guitar. I bet money. I bet $5 on round 1 Atiba Guitar. I will say this. Robert Valentin, I would be shocked if this guy didn't have money on himself getting KO'd in round 1. He would get stung, cover up. Most fighters, when they cover up, they at least, like, look at their opponent, or they're trying to look away or something. This guy's looking at the ground, covering up, asking him to continue, and did he throw a punch? Oh, he threw 2 punches. Yeah. He didn't fucking throw anything when he was getting finished. He got stung, he backed up, and he's like, yeah, bring it on, bring it on. And then he would just shell up, and then just eat shots over and over and over again. What the fuck was the game plan? You know, were you gonna try to gas out this guy? You know, like, I don't understand what the fucking game plan here was for Valentin. But that's Valentin's UFC career. Like, there were some people high on Valentin. Bro, I go based off UFC. Brother, this guy was not UFC tier. I don't know who the fuck was betting Valentin. I think Guatar was a big favorite. Like, he was a minus 500, minus 600 opening odds or some shit like that. And it was tightening to minus 400. Hey, rest in peace for all those people betting on Robert Valentin. Because that's how line movements happen. I don't know how the fuck you bet on Robert Valentin. Listen, I wouldn't mind him winning in terms of, like, a personality and shit. But bro has shown nothing in terms of UFC level. Like, his grappling is shit against Torres Fitty, his striking shit against Ryan fucking Loader, and he gets smoked by a Teba Guatar. What do you expect, you know? That's his UFC career gone. Goodbye. Back to the shit leagues. Have fun. Francisco Prado versus Nikolai Vretnikov. Now, Prado in the first round was doing well. Okay, he was doing really well. But he's not a fucking welterweight, and that was my big concern. And fuck, I should have went against the plot armor of Prado, because I thought, like, oh, he's gonna be the new Drew Dober, you know, guys. He's gonna, you know, he fights like Drew Dober. He's got similar skill sets, you know. He's got a similar chin level, but he's not welterweight. Why the fuck are you back-to-back fighting welterweights when you're a tiny speck compared to them? Nikolai is not a fucking killer, okay? Despite what he might have looked like in this fight. He's just a welterweight. Francisco Prado is not a welterweight, okay? So, Francisco Prado, he ended up in round one doing relatively okay. I think he got a takedown after, like, kind of a knockdown on Nikolai. And then he ended up, like, I want to say it was a weird scramble, and then he ended up trying to go for an armbar, and Prado got fucking dunked on his head, like Cody Brundage, Zach Reese, I want to say, style. And that was kind of what this fight was. This was literally like a Cody Brundage fight, kinda. You know, where Cody Brundage is getting fucking fucked up, alright? And Prado was the Cody Brundage, by the way. And yeah. After that, it looked like round two, he was still, like, hurt or stunned or something. It was really weird. And then round two, he kind of just, like, was behind everywhere, sloppily going for takedowns, occasionally landing on the chin of Nikolai. Nikolai is, like, circling around, you know, being a little bit of a point fighter, but landing big shots where he needs to land big shots. And it got really sloppy, really lazy. Round two, I think, was kind of a swing round, you know, or it was round one that was a swing round. Either or. I think I might have... One of those rounds was a swing round. The other one was a clear Nikolai. And then round three, I think Prado just realized, yeah, he's not built for this. Like, he kept on trying to get, like, a toss or, like, a throw. And then he'd get reversed on the throw. Because he's just not big enough. Like, why the fuck are you fighting at welterweight? I literally said it in the breakdown. Welterweight is like a 6 foot plus division. What the fuck are you doing, Prado? Genuinely. Alright? Like, as a fight fan, I don't want to see you lose, but, like, brother, you make it hard, man. Like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ. This is like watching fucking... It's like if we saw Kevin Holland compete at fucking light heavyweight. Middleweight, you'll get away with. Light heavyweight, you're gonna fucking, like, what are you doing, okay? Even as shallow as that division is, size matters, alright? So, yeah, it's just, what the fuck we doing? I think he's gonna go back to the B leagues. I think that's 3 in a row. That's, Zellhuber, Jake Matthews, and now Nikolai. Yeah, it's time to go back to the cans, alright? Earn your fucking way back into this, UFC. I think all of his losses are in UFC, too. He's not bad. But he's stupid. Why are we fighting at welterweight? Moving on. Marvin Vettori, Brendan Allen. Dumb versus dumber. And it's anyone's guess who is who. I went with Marvin Vettori purely for Brendan Allen being dumb and having no chin. Now, Brendan Allen is still dumb. Okay. Round one, he fumbled it in terms of getting the finish. Marvin at one point had his back and threatening a rear naked choke. That was kind of fucking wild. Brendan Allen also had his own rear naked choke. But Marvin Vettori's face in round one was made out of paper mache. I don't know how the fuck that happens. I think Jared Cannonier literally took years off Marvin Vettori's fight career. I don't think Marvin Vettori... I think you cut Marvin Vettori. Like, there's nothing you can do with him. He doesn't know how to fight back. Like, he'll stand there, eat a jab, eat a 1-2, eat a hook, and he just won't throw back. Or he just throws back ones. You know? He'll throw back a right hand. Oh! Like, brother, get in there in the pocket and start swinging. Trust your chin, brother. But, yeah. It's sad what happened to his brother, but, I mean, Brendan Allen got the better of him. It is what it is. Plot armor couldn't prevail for Marvin Vettori. Yeah, Marvin gets sent back to the B leagues in the unranked division of middleweight, or you cut him. Honestly, though, this just proves to me that Israel Adesanya's reign as a fucking champion was dog shit. Alright, Jared Cannonier, Marvin fucking Vettori, Kelvin Gastelum. These wins are so bad. These are aging so bad. Alright, Jared Cannonier's aging okay, but all the other ones are aging really fucking badly. And then he lost to a guy who's Strickland sloppy seconds and lost to Strickland. Just saying. Alright, picked that fight perfectly. So if you're looking for picks and predictions, stick around. Okay, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Shameless plug over. Moving on, we have Kyler Phillips versus Vinicius Oliveira. Oh, I probably should explain Marvin Vettori round 2, eh? Yeah, it was just like Marvin couldn't really do anything and he was getting peppered the whole time. Brendan Allen would get cracked a few times here and there, but at least he was trying to go for something. He was trying to go for a knockout. Marvin was just dumb. And round 3, similar thing. They got a little scrappy towards the end, and yeah, Marvin just, you would eat 4 or 5 shots and then do nothing back, you know? Prime Marvin Vettori fight, guys. Moving on, Kyler Phillips versus Vinicius Oliveira. Now this, my prediction was this was going to look like Vinicius Oliveira versus Bernardo Sopage, where it's going to look a little rough for Vinicius early, and he's going to turn it on a little later. And that's kind of how it looked like, but a better version of Vinicius Oliveira. Round 1, I think you probably give to Kyler Phillips, because he was doing well with a lot of the kicks. And he almost had Vinicius finished. But Vinicius Oliveira is the modern day MVP. This guy's style needs to be studied. It's almost like his style, it just doesn't have a blueprint out on how you beat it, you know? I know he has losses on his record, but this guy's going on a tear in the UFC, and he's winning a lot of these fights by just being, like, a new MVP. Like, when you see him fight, he's perfectly got, maybe not perfectly, but he's roughly got, like, a solid 50-50 balance on his body, and it's all head movement and all offense is the word I was looking for. I'm sorry, it's getting late. But yeah, he's pure offense, and his defense is literally fucking wobbling around like he's MVP mixed with Dricus du Plessis style. It literally needs, like, you know, we need Grok or something to figure out a fucking blueprint for his style, because he's gonna be a fucking problem. Okay. But yeah, round 1, it was getting wild with Kyler Phillips dropping Vinicius. Vinicius looks a little rocked. Sometimes it was like maybe Vinicius was just off balance. It's hard to tell. And to be fair, Vinicius was using the cage sometimes to, like, bring himself up. I don't think he'll get away with that forever. Like, once he starts getting main events and shit like that, he won't be getting away with that kind of stuff. But yeah, round 1 he survives. Round 2, he starts picking apart Kyler Phillips, and Kyler Phillips looks like he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Kyler Phillips gets fucking dropped. He's starting to gas out pretty hard. And yeah, it was just Vinicius Oliveira taking over. Now in the final round, I was on my stationary bike, you can see there, and I couldn't reach my remote, but the stream froze, and I need to refresh it. That was the final, like, minute-ish. Outside of that, what I can tell you is that Vinicius Oliveira was just piecing the fuck out of Kyler Phillips. And Kyler Phillips would land back sometimes, and he'd try to go for takedowns sometimes. But even Vinicius was, you know, he's getting a little handsy in terms of the finishing potential on the ground. You know, he was shooting for some of those chokes, but he couldn't really get a choke locked fully in because Kyler Phillips was, I think, just too sweaty. But yeah, Vinicius looked great in this fight. He looked very Vinicius Oliveira, you know, he's looking very consistent, which is what I like to see from someone so active. We'll get into it. But yeah, Vinicius Oliveira gets the W. I thought it was a clear 2-1, 3-0 Vinicius. Nah, 2-1, 2-1. Let's be fair here. Moving on, Michael Johnson versus Daniel Zellhuber. Okay, this main card was an absolute landmine, and I remember I watched almost every single MMA YouTuber that's got like 1,000+ subscribers or something like that. You know, Running Mouth, We Want Picks, Bedtime MMA, Lucas Tracy, fucking everyone. Okay, MMA Guru. I watch fucking Mighty Mouse. I watch fucking everybody. Okay, and almost everyone was saying the same shit. I feel really confident about this card. I'm gonna sweep this card. You know, we're going flawless this card, and I respect the confidence. But I knew this shit was a landmine, and I should have trusted my gut, man. Fuck. Yeah. This main card had 4 of the 5 underdogs win, which is kind of insane. 4 underdogs back to back to back, and we'll get into it. If you know the odds, you'll know the results, but we'll get into it. Michael Johnson beats Daniel Zellhuber at the ripe old age of 40 years old. Now, I said it in my fucking breakdown. I picked Daniel Zellhuber purely for the age, purely because of the range and the statistics and all that shit. But I don't mind Michael Johnson winning a crafty vet decision. There were so many people like MJ's cooked, MJ's gonna lose, he wins the fights he's supposed to win, he loses the fights he's supposed to lose. On paper, I get why people are like, MJ loses this one. It's a younger dude, rangy dude, coming off a great loss against Esteban Ribovics, Fight of the Year contender from last year. I get it, but Daniel Zellhuber is very breakable, and that's my takeaway from the Esteban fight. All right, Esteban, I think we learned, doesn't really have that much power in his hands. He's just a really good inside boxer with some pretty decent takedown defense. Daniel Zellhuber is a rangy point fighter who pretends to get scrappy. And what I mean by that is that he's hands low and he'll just start throwing angrily, you know, gum shield show, and just start throwing to throw. But it's not good. It's just, he wants to make it look like it's good by throwing angrily and getting passionate and emotional in there, you know? And if you catch him, or if you crack him, or if you get around on him, he breaks. He crumbles. All right. He did it in the Prado fight, you know, where like Prado would have some success and Zellhuber looks very frustrated. He's getting emotional and he's throwing very sloppily. All right. And in the Esteban Ribovics fight, he just fights shorter dudes that have really short reaches. And Michael Johnson is like a filled in lightweight. I know he's competed at featherweight. That was a while ago, but he is a legit lightweight. And in round 1, it was close, but I think you could arguably give it to Johnson based on damage. Like, Zellhuber had some nice kicks, but Johnson had some really good shots on the inside, some really nice body work, and it was pretty close. Round 2, you give to Johnson because he cracked him at like the 3-minute mark. Michael Johnson is a smart lightweight fighter. He's a smart unk, you know? He knows that the final 3 to 2 minutes is where it matters, and he's just going to patiently wait. And to be honest with you, I'm surprised his arms didn't disintegrate to dust, because Daniel Zellhuber did land a shit ton of leg kicks, or he landed a shit ton of head kicks that were blocked by Michael Johnson. That arm is numb. There's no way that arm is a functioning arm after this fight from Michael Johnson. But goddamn, Michael Johnson got cracked, but Johnson's one of these guys where you got to get him in his flow state, and he gets sloppy, and he gets a little too, like, I want to highlight, and then he gets smoked, all right? That's when he gets caught, all right? Like, he did it against the Justin Gaethje fight, one of my favorite fights to watch. He did it against the Carlos Diego Ferreira fight, where he was getting in his flow state, he was looking really good, he was getting really lazy with his striking defense, and he gets popped, you know? But Daniel Zellhuber, he couldn't do shit to Prado. He couldn't do shit to Esteban. Like, yeah, he cracked Esteban here and there, but he couldn't finish him. And, like, very easy finishable, like, moments where it's like, okay, you knocked him down, like, get in there, all right? But Daniel Zellhuber had no urgency and thought he could just go in there and beat Unk. And you know what? Before the fight, if I could, like, rewrite time, and I know it's always a what if, but if it was Friday and I was making my picks Friday, watching all of the Daniel Zellhuber interviews, I probably would have picked Michael Johnson, because every single interview, he's like, oh, he's old, you know? How old is he? 40? 45? I don't know. Yeah, he's old, but Unk still got it. You know what I mean? Like, MJ is one of these guys where you just can't fucking, you gotta watch your P's and Q's, and it's still a legit MMA fight. You know, Daniel Zellhuber had a very Yair Rodriguez performance out there, where this was an easy layup on paper for him, but style-wise, he just got fucked up, you know? He's lazy in the striking defense, he's all-point strikey, he doesn't want to finish the fight, like, yikes, man. It's rough for Daniel Zellhuber. Great for Michael Johnson, he keeps his job, probably gets a performance bonus, maybe? I don't know, there's some bangers on this card, so, I don't know, but MJ clearly won this fight, 2-1. Yeah, he had a sick performance. Unk still got it. Moving on, we have Dan Ige versus Patrice Pitbull. This pissed me the fuck off. I picked Dan Ige. I was very confident in Dan Ige. Okay. The Dan Ige that showed up to fight Pitbull is not the same Dan Ige that fought Sean Woodson, or the same Dan Ige that fought Andre Fili, or the same Dan Ige that fought Diego fucking Lopez, alright? I don't know who the fuck this was. This was not our Dan Ige, okay? This guy in round 1 is doing absolutely fucking nothing. Alright, and then getting held for a minute 30 and landing, what, like 3 punches at the end of the round? Alright, and when I say nothing, I literally mean the first round had single digit, ignore that voice crack, literally had single digit numbers for strikes landed in the first round. Very, very disappointing for both people, especially because Pitbull was like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, I left a lot of energy in my last fight, you know, I'm gonna go in there and take his head off. He didn't fucking do that. Alright, round 2 starts up. Dan Ige is looking pretty aight early on, and then he gets cracked, and then we're like, ooh, okay, don't do that, Dan Ige. And then Dan Ige is just standing there, role-playing Poirier versus Benoit, like, not understanding he needs to throw back, alright? And Pitbull's just laying it on him. And round 1 was close, but round 2 was a very clear Pitbull round, and then round 3 starts up, Dan Ige's coming out, he lands a nice head kick. Actually, it was like a knee to the nose. I'm gonna say it as a Dan Ige fan, it was a lucky fucking kick, and if he didn't land that kick, it was 30-27 Pitbull. That is depressing to see. He's a 40-year-old man, he looked like shit against Yair. Maybe it was Bellator getting fraud checked, fucking written in the stars, alright, on their debuts, but fuck, man. Dan Ige, this was very disappointing to see. You know, Dan Ige's a little bit of a 50-50 fighter, but my take was that Dan Ige, you need to be really good at something to have Dan Ige struggle. You have to be a really good striker. Yeah, like kind of like Sean Woodson, kind of like Diego Lopez, or you have to be a really good grappler like Bryce Mitchell. Even though that hasn't really aged that well, but you know, it was a different era, Bryce Mitchell, okay? That was Bryce Mitchell when the Lord first came to him, alright? And he expelled that demon of his ex-girlfriend, okay? So that was a different type of Bryce Mitchell. However, I think, nah, I'm thinking of someone else. But regardless, yeah, this was disappointing. Moving on. Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez. Oh, first of all, D-Rod did win a very clear 2-1. You could give him 3-0 and I wouldn't complain. I'll be honest with you. Everyone's talking about round 1 being close. Daniel Rodriguez knocked him down in round 1. He landed the more damaging shots in round 1. And he had Kevin Holland on the back foot in round 1 the whole fucking time. Some people are going to be like, oh, he doubled his numbers and shit. I haven't seen the official numbers. I know these numbers are here on Google. These will probably get changed eventually. That did not fucking happen, okay? Did not double it. Kevin Holland might have landed more. Maybe some of those tappy low kicks, you know, that he was doing. But he looked like shit, optic-wise, okay? He was getting hurt, low defense, he was getting wobbled, he was getting pushed up against the cage, and I was saying it in the breakdown, he's been getting fucking cracked. Just didn't think D-Rod had it in him. But what we found out from this fight is that D-Rod, alright, his weakness is the soy fucks, alright? The fat fucks like Kelvin Gastelum, alright? That can't make weight. Fucking part-timing ass bitch. The soy fucks like the great Ian Machado Gary, okay? Getting a fucking head kick. Only the most soy human beings can beat Daniel Rodriguez. Anyone who's even a little bit gangsta, alright? Who's even a little bit about that 45-70 life, alright? D-Rod runs house. Alright, he did it on Puns and Ibio. He's now done it on Kevin Holland. Round 1, D-Rod clearly wins in my opinion. And I thought D-Rod was up. Bro, it was minus 700 for Kevin Holland. I've never seen Kevin Holland look that shit. I've seen Kevin Holland break. I've seen Kevin Holland quit. I've never seen Kevin Holland look that shit. But I picked Kevin Holland. I still have a 0% win rate with Kevin Holland in my 3 years of picking for the sport. I can't fucking pick this guy's fight to save my goddamn career. I just, from now on, if you see me pick Kevin Holland, bro, just bet the other side. All right? That's how you win money, I guess. But regardless, I picked Kevin Holland. I thought Daniel Rodriguez could have won 3-2. 3-0. Second round starts up. Kevin Holland's doing a little bit better. He's catching D-Rod here and there. But D-Rod starts, like, threatening submissions. He starts getting it. Like, bro, he's running after Kevin Holland. Like, he's Robert Whittaker fucking running in there trying to take his head off, you know? It was sick. This was prime D-Rod. At what, 37, 38? Fucking hats off, man. This guy's a fucking... Listen, I get he might have cheated. Again, he got popped for drugs. But you know what? Hats off for D-Rod. He needed... Unk needed a win. Bro, he beat Kevin Holland. How the fuck did Kevin Holland beat Buckley at 185? I'll never understand. But regardless, D-Rod cracked Kevin Holland. Made him look like shit in round 1 and 2. And then round 3... Kevin Holland almost gets D-Rod out of there with a light uppercut. And you know what it was? I think what it was is that I don't think D-Rod was hurt that bad. D-Rod, I think, had surgery or something done on his jaw. It's like a wire jaw. He's always like... You know what I mean? But I think what happened is that he like, like while his jaw was like, that's when Kevin Holland just landed perfectly on like that jaw while he was like doing his fucking I don't like twitch, I guess. But yeah, his jaw was twitching around. It twitched. I think he got caught. He got knocked down. Kevin Holland's shooting for a finish. He's too tired to get it done in a 3-round fight. Kevin Holland was too tired. And too hard. Whoa, pause. He was too tired in a 3-round fight. Very disappointing. But, yeah, I mean, this was prime Kevin Holland fucking disappointing the guys who were riding on the hype train. And prime D-Rod, who's a 37-year-old unk who fucking whooped Kevin Holland. Not like, oh, he just landed good that one time. No, like, he masterclassed Kevin Holland on the feet. Like, this was very impressive from D-Rod. So, yeah. Went on a little bit of tangent. Round 3, he's wobbled on the ground. He somehow gets to his feet. Kevin Holland, I think, kind of lets him up because he's just too fucking tired. You know, they get after a little bit. Daniel Rodriguez, I think, gets caught again doing something. Kevin tries to go in for a takedown. Gets reversed, I want to say. And Daniel Rodriguez starts laying fucking ground and pound while in full mount on Kevin Holland. It was... Bro, any Kevin Holland fans... They've got to be the most mentally unstable people on the planet because of how inconsistent Kevin Holland is. You know? This was another on paper, Kevin Holland should win this one. He should be a minus 700. But he just doesn't because D-Rod's him, bro. He got that gangsta energy. Anyways, moving on. Co-main event. Did not feel like that while watching this. Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. I got it fucking perfectly. I had this fight 1-1, mint condition. I knew exactly what was going to happen this whole time. And anyone out there being like, oh, you're just a Kopylov hater or whatever the fuck you want to say to cope. No. I love watching Kopylov fight. Kopylov was never going to win this one, okay? Maybe if Paulo Costa drank the night before a whole wine glass like he did in that easy fight. But... the problem with Kopylov is that he's been fighting boxers. Okay, Chris Curtis. Up a weight division that he shouldn't be at, as we've seen him now make welterweight. Okay, he's a boxer who has great takedown defense. That is perfect tailor-made matchup for Kopylov. Perfect for his kicks at range. Perfect for his speed. You know, an older boxer who's not really going to have the same timing as a very fast kickboxer. Perfect for Kopylov. And that was a close fight. I know you're going to see KO. It shouldn't have been a KO. That was a close fight. 2-1 Kopylov. There were some people saying 2-1 Chris. I wasn't on that because I picked Kopylov, but this was this was tailor-made for Paulo Costa. To beat Paulo Costa, he's been fighting former champs in his last, like, 4 fights? 5 fights? Adesanya, Rockhold, Yoel Romero, I guess not really a former champ, but I think he's a Bellator champ or some shit, or whatever the fuck. Sean Strickland, and what was Robert Whittaker. Like, bro, those are the 5 names he's just fought. And Roman Kopylov fought Chris Curtis. I'll wait. Who else? Yeah, fucking cans. All right, Cesar Almeida, great win. The rest of them, fucking bums. All right, they're not UFC level. Kopylov has lost to not UFC level opponents. Paulo Costa has shown he is UFC level. Listen, Robert Whittaker toughed out a spinning wheel kick flush to the head in the first round. And Paulo Costa, he's like, all right, I'm just not going to get highlighted. And there was a close round there, but he did technically lose that fight, right? The Sean Strickland fight, Strickland is just a tailor-made matchup to beat Paulo Costa because he's not going to outpace Strickland. Strickland's got one of the best paces when he doesn't have staph infection, okay? Paulo Costa, you need to do 2 things. You either, 1, have to outvolume him and cut him off, or you 2 have to provide a really big threat. All right? Typically, it's on the feet threat. You know, that's what breaks Paulo Costa. Because once you've, like, caught him really bad and you don't, like, if you don't give Paulo Costa any success, like, if you're not wobbled, if your gum shield doesn't pop out, which happened in round 1, okay? Then that's when Paulo Costa's like, oh shit, I just don't really want to get highlighted. Let me try not to get highlighted here. You know, I think that Adesanya fight still gives them nightmares. But Kopylov's not that guy. Bro, these guys are like 2 months apart in terms of age. Kopylov's not like this young dude, despite him looking like Chase Hooper, okay? But Paulo Costa, round 1, is just outpacing Roman Kopylov. Kopylov just can't really find a rhythm because Costa's just peppering him with that jab, hitting him with that 1-2, and then he's also going in with those low kicks. I think the numbers were like 40-10. By the way, Paulo Costa's staying here for this fight, okay? I picked Paulo Costa. I picked him by decision. I said 29-28, 30-27, okay? I picked Paulo Costa. Very biased for Paulo Costa. Those numbers were bullshit. Paulo Costa maybe doubled the strikes. He didn't quadruple the strikes like the numbers were showing of Roman Kopylov, or even here. Like, these are just, like, bullshit. But regardless, round 1, Paulo Costa, he was just beating Roman Kopylov to the punch, and Roman was focused on doing body kicks. Not a bad plan, alright? But then his gum shield got knocked out at, like, the final minute, and the ref straight up didn't go for the gum shield, didn't want to pause timer, and they were still scrapping, and Kopylov looked like he was about to get fucking KO'd. He was like, oh shit, I need to survive here. Let me focus on surviving. For whatever reason, his corner told him he won that round. He did not win that round. That was a very clear Costa round. Round 2 happens. It's similar stuff, only this time, Kopylov did land a few times pretty good on Paulo Costa's chin. But Kopylov's boxing isn't that great. And he is older. I don't think he's got that much power, okay? Against a 34-year-old Paulo Costa, you know? A pretty tough Paulo Costa at that. But Kopylov, I just don't think had enough power to get Paulo Costa's respect to be like, oh shit, I need to, you know, play smart here. Costa just went in there and fucking jab for jab, right hand for right hand, kick for kick, you know? And he was just like, leg kick. Oh, body kick? That's it? Leg kick. You know, like, he was fucking... Paulo Costa was in there to win, you know? Round 3 starts up. I had it 2-1 or 2-0 Paulo Costa. I want to say round 2 is also where Paulo Costa knocked down Roman Kopylov as Roman was going in. And then round 3 happens, and Paulo Costa's doing the same shit. He's just whooping Kopylov's ass, and Kopylov's trying to find his rhythm, and he just couldn't. Kopylov is just... He fights like Strickland in terms of just walking you down in a straight line, and you can't fucking do that against Paulo Costa. You know, you gotta cut him off when he's trying to circle or out. He's trying to get his cardio. You know, like, he's a legit top 10, maybe top 15 middleweight. Paulo Costa's legit, man. Roman Kopylov will crush cans. He's not beating these high-level middleweight fighters. You know, like, he's just not. And everyone's like, oh, the takedown defense throughout the whole fight. Who the fuck cares, bro? Who cares about the takedown defense? Paulo Costa didn't even fucking need it, you know? But I did say Paulo Costa probably should have shot takedown to get, like, the threat there. And yeah, Roman Kopylov's takedown defense, I think, is very overblown. And a lot of people, like, try to parade that as, like, he's a really good striker who's got great takedown defense. He doesn't really fight grapplers, man. I'll be honest. Like, Brendan Allen probably does beat Roman Kopylov. You know? But I do think Kopylov smokes, like, a Marvin Vettori. He does probably beat, like, a Shara Bullet, you know? But, like, people like MVP, people like Jared Cannonier, people like, Gregory Rodriguez, like, those guys will give Kopylov problems. He's not able to beat them. So I had that fight perfectly. We move on. Shine bright like a diamond. We got close, boys. We almost got close. All right, to a perfect send-off for Dustin Poirier. Round 1, little rocky, okay? Got caught off balance. All right, Dustin Poirier going into this fight. 2-0 against Max. Retirement fight. You can tell the jitters were there in round 1. You can tell he's feeling the pressure. He normally does breathe heavy, you know, but this was a different, like, while he was there. It was like, ooh, that's going to be a problem. You know, round 1 goes by, gets knocked down here and there, you know, in round 1. Those numbers are, I don't think those numbers are accurate, I'll be honest. But I had Dustin Poirier winning by KO, okay? I'll say that. All right. Very biased towards Dustin Poirier. Like I said, he's what got me addicted to the sport. But regardless, round 1 goes by. Max Holloway wins clear. All right. Knockdown. Think he outlanded. Round 2 starts up. This is where, like, I was sort of disappointed by Max Holloway. I didn't mind Max Holloway winning this. I did say it was a 50-50 in the breakdown. Max Holloway, in round 2, when he was swinging a little too recklessly, he ended up getting caught, and he got knocked down very bad. Like, very bad. That was like a eyes roll back of the head, oh shit moment. I think Max Holloway's chin is gone, guys. Listen, I'm not gonna say he's washed. Like, he's still got good tools, alright? He's still got the spinning wheel kick. Like I said, he's got a lot more tools, but his OG skill set is still not improved. His boxing is still open. You know, he was very patient in this fight. He knew about the Dimond's power, okay? But round 2, Dustin pulls Gilly, all right? After knocking down Max Holloway. He gets him up. He's like, this is my fucking moment. He almost got that Gilly. Prime Dustin Poirier fashion. He almost got that Gilly. You know what I mean? But yeah, threatened it. Didn't get it. Got to full man at one point. Almost got a TKO, okay? But yeah, they got to the feet. Max Holloway ended up surviving. He looked pretty stung by those shots, I will be honest. So Dustin Poirier still at the ripe old age of 36 on his retirement fight. Fucking, he can still bang, all right? But round 3 starts up. It's probably 1-1 is what I had it scored, even though a lot of people had Max winning round 2 in the live chats that I was watching. But round 3 starts, and this is where, like, Poirier, he starts finding a rhythm, and then Max would stop it with an eye poke. Just saying how it is, okay? Max Holloway, every time Poirier would go in with that lead jab, you know, that lead, like, Poirier jab, you know what I mean? Boom. Ooh, ooh, you know what I mean? The guard stance, the Poirier guard stance, you know what I mean? Every time he'd go in, he'd have success, and then one time at, like, the minute 30 mark, Max Holloway gets an eye poke in round 3. It is what it is, all right? Poirier was going to win that round, but, you know, I get it. We gotta give it to Max. All right, we gotta give some future for the guy who just got smoked by Ilia Topuria. But no, I'm not a Max hater. I am glad he won. But you know, round 3, it was close. We'll give it to Max via eye poke. All right, no point deduction, nothing like that. Poirier's a man. Didn't even need time. All right, went straight back into it. If he didn't, hey, who knows what would have happened in those 45 seconds? Round 4 starts up. It's 2-1 Max probably. Close third round though. Not really much going on, much like the Gaethje Max Holloway fight, other than the big moment in round 1 and the big moment in round 5. Obviously, one of the best knockouts of all time. Actually, makes me ejaculate every time I watch that finish from Max Holloway smoking Justin Gaethje. But that fight was uneventful for like 3 rounds. This was a similar situation. Honestly, kind of worse. It was a lot less pace than I think people are going to give this fight. Like, a lot of people are going to say it's a war. Well, it wasn't really a war. Round 4, Poirier is looking a little slower out there. He's looking like his age out there. He's spitting out his blood a lot more. But he starts landing on Max a few times. He landed one really clean overhand right. Like a Dustin Poirier hook, like I said he would, and it just didn't put out Max. You know, Max got caught with it before, didn't put almost put him away, and in round 4 just doesn't. I don't know what the fuck happened. This guy got his overshield in round 4. I don't know how the fuck this happened, guys. But yeah, Poirier makes it kind of close, but I do think the slight edge to Max Holloway. Again, another eye poke. You hate to see it. Okay, or maybe I'm thinking about round 5. But regardless, you know, it was a close round. You know, who knows what would have happened? All right, if a foul didn't happen. Okay, you know, Dustin Poirier was talking to him the whole time. Hey, bitch, stop eye poking me. Hey, stop nutshotting me, you motherfucker. You know, stuff like that is what Poirier was saying. But you know, going on into round 5, Max Holloway starts to turn up the heat a bunch, and he's starting to go in a lot more. And Poirier just can't really find his timing. There's a few times where he got caught, like, going in, with Max doing a lot of, punches. Early on, it felt like Max was trying to threat the head kick and threat the, like, spinning wheel kick. And as the fight progressed, Max just understood, nah, I just need to blitz in and stop trying to be dumb with it and fucking extra with it and just go in and box, you know? And he found that out in round 5. He ended up winning that round, I think 4-1. Max Holloway, but, you know, another eye poke. You know, only reason why we didn't get a final 10-second war was because of that eye poke near the end. You know, Dustin Poirier looked at the clock and he's like, ah, fuck, that eye poke still hurts. Oh, well, let's get after it. He did land a really nice hook. A lot of people are gonna probably shit on Poirier for clinching at the end. He didn't want to get slept in front of his family on his retirement fight with a retirement package, you know? I mean, I get it. But it would have been nice to see someone fucking die in that cage. But yeah, I thought there was going to be a finish. I thought they were going to get after it. Some people are saying, like, I was watching Jacob from We Want Picks live stream. Shout out to his live stream, by the way. He live streams almost every event. That's a fucking sick live stream to check out. You know, that's how you make the money. But, yeah, it was a good fight. Wasn't, like, great, you know. I'd say it's one step below the Justin Gaethje fight. Barring the finish in the final second. Yeah, it wasn't like the greatest scrap, but it was good. It was a good fight. Overall, this card was pretty good. I picked Dustin Poirier. I think I went 5-7. I'll have the record there. We went negative. It is what it is. You know, lost money on Dustin Poirier. Hey, can you blame me? It was a retirement fight, you know? It is what it is, you know? Yeah, I just lost $20. It is what it is. I don't really care. Yeah, this card was pretty good. Underdogs fucking swept the main card except for the main event. Or you could technically say that because at some point Max Holloway was an underdog, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, sick event. If you made it all the way to this video, it's gone on for a little too long. Sad we didn't get the shine bright like a diamond ending that we all wanted. But, you know, we almost got that guillotine. And we are now going to sit on the couch, take steroids, and enjoy retirement as Dustin Poirier, our king, will. But yeah, with all that being said, I want to thank you for watching, making it all the way to the end of this video. And as always, I hope you have a good day.